Credit is one of the most discussed but least understood areas of finance. Some think it's important, others think they don't need it, but everyone agrees the bigger your score, the better, right? Today I'm going to break down credit for you, why it's important for you, no matter who you are, and how you can quickly and easily get an amazing score with little effort. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe for more tips on upgrading your financial life. First, let's break down what credit actually is. The easiest way to think about it is as an IOU. You want to buy something and you either can't afford it or you don't want to use your own money to pay for it. So you ask someone else, a creditor, to loan you the money, with the promise that you'll pay them back later with a little extra for its trouble. If you're thinking that sounds more like debt, you're right. Technically, credit is what you receive and debt is the amount that you owe, but you can treat them pretty much the same. If someone credits you $1,000, you now have a $1,000 debt until you pay it back. So this is the basis for all types of credit or debt. Credit cards, mortgage, student loans, car loans, whatever. It's all money that you are borrowing that you'll pay back later with a little bit extra. Feel free to skip this section if you already know the importance of credit and that you need it. For the rest of you, I'm here to educate you because you need it. Let's start with a common example, buying a house. The average house in the US costs anywhere between $250,000 to $500,000. Now if you don't have that money in the bank, you're going to need a loan and credit to get one. And there's a bunch of these life events that you'll run into. Going to college, buying a car, investing in a business, even getting a job. Some companies may check your credit. Credit is going to be necessary for all of these things. And of course, the better your credit, the better things that you can buy and for cheaper. Another thing that I hear and I want to correct is I'll worry about credit later when I need it. The truth is that you will never know when you need credit. Besides the events I talked about before, which are more or less predictable, anything can happen. You don't want to miss out on a great opportunity because you chose not to prepare for it. Not to mention, credit takes a decent amount of time to build. In this video, I'm going to give you some hacks to help you get to 700 or higher as quickly as possible, but obviously there's limits. One of the most important factors of credit score is having a long and good credit history, so the earlier you start, the better. That said, let's get to the tips. First tip is simply track your score. Most people have no idea what their score is until they need to use their credit and they find out they have a bad score. Tracking your score not only keeps you up to date on how your score moves, but it's also going to help you to be more mindful about your financial behavior. You'll naturally start to think more about how certain decisions will affect your credit before you make them. Now, you don't need to obsess over it and check your score every day or after every purchase. Just make it a habit every week or even every month to take a quick look at it. There's tons of apps, probably even with your bank, that'll let you check your score for free as many times as you want without affecting your score. This is probably going to be the biggest one for most people, and that's to become an authorized user on someone else's credit card. This is a feature available for free on most credit cards that allows a second person pretty much to become a co-owner of the credit card. That means that everything between the two co-owners will now be shared. That includes purchases, payments, as well as history. This is huge because the number of years of your credit history is one of the biggest factors of your score. And if you have a relative or a friend that has a long credit history, you can instantly get the exact same history added onto your score. This can mean hundreds of points overnight, taking no score or a low score to a very high one. You do have to be careful with this though. If the person who authorizes you on their card has a past or future mistake on their card, like they miss a payment or something like that, that also gets copied to your history. Now, you can get it removed if they remove you as an authorized user, but it's better just not to deal with that in the first place. Only ask close relatives or friends who you know are on top of their game to add you as an AU to their credit card. Another easy way you can increase your credit score overnight is simply asking for more credit. A big factor in your score is what's called credit utilization, which is just what percentage of the credit that you have are you using. Quick example, with a $10,000 credit limit, using $1,000 would be a 10% credit utilization. If you're using all $10,000, that would be 100%. A lower number is better because it shows you're responsible and in a good position financially. The lower you get this number, the higher your score will be. At the very least, try to keep this number below 30%. And the easiest way to do that is to just increase the amount of credit that you have available. As long as you keep your spending the same, naturally that number will come down. You can call your credit card company and ask them to increase your credit limit. Again, be careful with this. If you ask your company to increase your credit limit, they may make a hard inquiry against your credit. This is not terrible, but it does slightly bring down your score for about a year and then it goes away. So before asking your company for more credit, either make sure you're in great standing with them, or just call them and ask them if they do hard pulls, which are bad, or soft pulls, which are okay. If you've been using credit for a while, then you've already built up a decent history. But marks for things like missed payments, collections, or other debt issues can be bringing down your score hundreds of points. What's worse is that invalid or inaccurate marks can be added to your report without you even knowing. And you would never know unless you take a look at your full credit report. If you think about your credit score as a summary of your credit history, the full credit report is the whole book. It will tell you if you have any derogatory marks affecting your credit score, and it's available for free at annualcreditreport.com. If you do find any marks that you feel are invalid, or even if you just made one mistake but otherwise you're a responsible and good credit user, you can just ask the company to remove it. The easiest way to do this is to sign up for Credit Karma and using their free direct dispute tool. It will automatically handle all your credit disputes. Finally is a bit of a mindset shift. Please stop being afraid of using credit. So many people have their horror stories about credit and debt and they think it's this big, bad, scary thing, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Credit and debt is an amazing tool to leverage other people's money to earn and grow your own. And this video really only touched on one aspect of credit, but it goes a lot deeper than this. Regardless, building and maintaining good credit is the very first step in building wealth. So, use your credit cards. Every couple of years, apply for a new one or ask for more credit, and just stop being afraid of credit and debt. And for the horror stories, those people simply didn't have the knowledge at that time to utilize credit correctly. Make sure that you subscribe so that I can keep providing you with that knowledge. I want to help you to take your finances to unthinkable levels and build generational wealth for you and yours. Well, that's all for today. Hope it was helpful. See you guys in the next one.